Aloha, welcome back to the Temple of Surf, the podcast. This is series number 8, and I really hope you like the previous episodes. As a first episode of the new series, we have invited 7 times world champion Layne Beachley. We discuss with her about her competitive years, women surfing, and much more. Good morning, Layne. Welcome to the show. Where are you today?
Good morning. I am at my dad's unit in Manly Beach in Sydney, Australia.
Amazing. So today we're going to talk about many things. I know we have very limited time, so I'll try to be as fast as I can. First question that I ask everybody on the show is, what is the most important thing in surfing, in your opinion?
Wow. That's a really deep question to kickstart a podcast off with. I'd have to say, look, the first thing that comes to mind, I'd say, is just doing it, is committing yourself to getting in the water, because it's called Blue Health for a reason. It has the capacity to calm the mind and invigorate the soul. And it's a place for me where I feel like it puts my life back into perspective. It keeps me in balance. So the most important thing for surfing is to surf. The second most important thing is actually to respect the ocean, because it brings life, but it can also take your life in a heartbeat.
Yeah, definitely. It's a relationship that every surfer needs to have and needs to respect, right?
Exactly.
Nature is much powerful than all of us, right?
Yes.
Actually, it was a very important answer, the one that you give, because sometimes I get like most important thing is just to have fun, but the reason why I'm asking this question is because it has a broader meaning, and I think you got what I wanted to ask you. And so if we have to fast forward, on your competitive years, you, of course, you won 7 world titles, but among them, was especially meaningful for you, maybe because it was harder than the other, or I don't know.
Yes. Okay, so I'd say the hardest one to win was my 4th consecutive world title, just because of the events of September 11 cut our year in half. And we only had 6 events that year, so it came down to 3. I'd say the 2 most meaningful world titles were number 1 and 7. So I'm a 7 times world champion who's won 6 consecutive world titles, but 5 world titles were won in state of fear and only 2 were won in the state of love. And what I mean by that is world titles number 1 and 7 were won in a state of love. So I won them by following a process. I was very clear about what I wanted to achieve, but then I dedicated myself to becoming a better surfer or a better competitor or more advanced in my nutrition and my performance and my training. So it was all about high performance, but it was the processes to achieve high performance. Whereas world titles 2 to 6 were outcome driven, so they were fear-based. And that means my sense of self-worth and identity was wrapped up in them as well. So if I didn't win, I was a loser. Whereas the mentality that I had when I was competing for number 1 and 7 was, if I wasn't winning, I was learning. And it's a small distinction, but it creates a huge difference. And it's a slight mindset reset as well, but it creates an enormous difference when it comes to pursuing goals and learning from your mistakes and setbacks.
You mean that you were asking yourself too much?
Yes. Yeah, I put unrealistic expectations and pressure on myself to perform at a certain level. And it was hard. It was really hard. It was a lot harder than I needed it to be. And that's because I had this belief that success had to be hard, and I certainly found plenty of proof points to validate that belief.
But you still were winning, right? So
yeah, I was, but at what cost? So I was winning at a significant cost. The cost of my health and well-being, the quality of my relationships, the quality of the relationship that I had with my partner, my quality of relationship with myself, my peers. It wasn't fun, and that. The success came at a significant cost. So there's several ways that you can succeed. Majority of us perceive or strive to succeed through fear, because it's more familiar, and it's sometimes more comfortable because we can be in control. But ultimately, striving and achieving through a state of love comes with a state of feelings of effortlessness and grace and gratitude.
You just said, in effect, you anticipated one of the questions that I had for few minutes after.
I do that.
It's okay. So because you were saying about being in control, right? And so today with the Wake Academy, you are
Yes.
coaching people of being in control of themselves, right?
Yes, yes.
And if you apply this being in control to those years that were, let's say, dominated by fear, but they still brought you to winning a world champion, would you have done something differently or not?
I would have done a lot of things differently. So when you have really fierce expectations, I know from my personal experience, because my expectations were so hard and were so fierce, especially towards myself, I then ended up projecting those expectations onto other people, which then ultimately tends to push people away. You know, when you're projecting your expectations onto others, it makes it very difficult for them to fulfill them. And so therefore, everyone's letting you down. And life will just be filled with constant disappointment, because disappointment is the result of unmet expectations. And a lot of us even have stealth expectations. They're expectations that we don't even know that we're projecting onto others. And it makes it very difficult to establish meaningful connections and long-lasting friendships when you're being really fiercely driven and fiercely focused to achieve something at all costs. So I know a lot of very successful people who are very unhappy. And that's because they're kind of standing on top of the pile with no one around them, because they've literally destroyed every relationship that was meaningful to them. And I did a lot of that in those competitive years, in world titles specifically from 2 to 6. I was fortunate that I was able to learn from those experiences. And some of those friendships I've been able to rebuild, and some I have not. And I've had to acknowledge that. But the one relationship that I had to work hardest at rebuilding was the one with myself, because those years cost me a lot in relation to my health and well-being, chronic fatigue, severe injuries, depression, just things that at my 50 years of age, I'm now in constant pain management because I beat myself up so severely and never really celebrated my wins. So you can't build on success that hasn't been celebrated. So this constant desire to achieve came at such a significant cost that no one sees that, because they all look at the shiny things. They all look at the trophies and the success and the fame and the fortune and think, well, geez, that must have been worth it. Well, yes, I'm glad I did achieve my goals, but upon reflection, there's definitely something I could have done differently. And that's number one, more self-compassion. Definitely needed to have more compassion for myself, which then would have been enabled me to extend that to others. Secondly, having more fun and not being defined by my results and being more process-driven, which is what I learned in number 1 and 7.
Very interesting. And so a question that I always ask, but maybe now has a different meaning in this interview, is what does it take to be world champion? I think partially you answered already, but...
Well, no, not really, because from my experience, when I have constantly reflected on my career, especially as a motivational speaker, you know, people see me as a success and they want to know what I did. So there's perhaps something that they can take from that and apply to their lives to make them more successful. And I believe that there's 3 things that led to me becoming a world champion. I like to simplify things. We're simple as human beings. We remember things in 3, so I keep things in 3. Number 1 is a clarity of vision. I was very clear about what I wanted to achieve, and that helps you create and make decisions that's in support of that vision. But if you're in a boat and you don't know where you're heading, then the winds and the tides and the swell are going to wash you in different directions. And you're just going to go with that and see where it takes you. So to maintain that element of autonomy and direction, you have to be really clear about where you're heading and what it is that you want to, where you want to get to, what is it you want to feel, or what is it you want to achieve. The second piece of the puzzle is what I refer to as my dream team. So now I'm really clear about what I want. That enables me and empowers me to ask for what I need. But to achieve that, I have to know who can deliver that need. And so I was very discerning about who I surrounded myself with. My dream team of people who brought the best out of me, who celebrated me, who were honest with me, who didn't just point out my weaknesses, but also helped me build on those weaknesses. And they were the people who saw more in me than I saw in myself. They were the people who brought the best out of me in all times. So once I was clear about what I wanted, then I was clear about who I needed to surround myself with. They also become my honesty barometers or my accountability partners. And that comes to the third piece of the diagram, which is action. Are my actions, my daily habits, my choices congruent with where I'm heading or who I needed to be surrounded by? So if my actions aren't holding me accountable, then my dream team can hold me accountable. But my vision is ultimately my accountability partner. Everything that I do today needs to get me one step closer to that. And look, there's days when I'm going to sabotage. There's days when I don't feel like it. There's days when I'm tired or hungover or angry or fed up, and that's okay. But I don't stay stuck there very long, because I either have the self-regulation to drag myself out of it, or one of my dream team members can pick me up and dust me off and send me back out into the world.
Yeah, it's actually, we are human, right? At the end
Yes.
of the day, and that's the most important thing, is to preserve that humanity. Otherwise, we'll be a machine. And I don't think machine at a certain point they break, right?
No. Yes, I'm not a robot.
No, I can testify. But what touches me is that already the second time you're talking about people, right? So even being a world champion, if there is only one world champion, people that help you to get there, right? You cannot do it by yourself.
No. And also never forgetting where you come from, because the shoulders of the people that you lean on and stand on to be the best at what you do are the same shoulders that you need to lean on and hold on to on your way back down. And if you've destroyed those relationships, then there's not going to be that much there to pad the fall, because we all come back down from those lofty heights. I don't stay there. So I'm very grateful that I've been able to nurture those relationships, because life is all about developing quality relationships.
No, definitely. And so, talking about relationship, was there a meeting with one surfer that was particularly meaningful for you? No matter if the surfer is like widely known or totally unknown, but was there something like one particular meeting that was more important than the others, I would say?
Yes. So when I was about 13 years of age, there was a WC or a championship tour event down here at my local beach break here at Manly Beach. So all the best surfers in the world, all the biggest names in the sport at the time, all the champions, all the heroes, all the legends. And I went down there just hunting for autographs. Okay. And one particular world champion, I was very excited to get his autograph. When I went up to him and asked for it, he dismissed me, and I didn't get his autograph. Okay. And that broke my heart and made me feel unheard and unseen. And I made a point in that moment to myself, and I thought to myself, if I ever am in a position where someone wants my autograph, I'm always going to take the time to give it, because I don't want anyone to feel the way that I currently feel. And secondly, to that point, if I'm ever in a position where someone wants my autograph, I'm also going to make it legible, because there were so many autographs in my autograph book that I could not ever read again, and I didn't write their names under it, so I don't know who it was.
I think it's been part of, we all did it when we were like teens, just to ask for anybody. And then I have the same, I have books of autograph of which, who's this guy or this girl?
Yeah, exactly. Who is this person?
Maybe they were important people, right?
Maybe. Not to me anymore.
Everything evolves, and some people keep looking for those, and other people, they just forget. Is again, being human, right? It's like, And okay, and being a world champion then and being a world champion today, provided that you follow like your rules, let's say the three rules, I think could be the same, right?
Absolutely. When you set that really clear vision, you've then got to set some sort of personal mission statement as to who you're going to be and how you're going to show up. There's a lot more intrusion on the athletes today as far as social media and demands for them to be these icons and these heroes of the sport, but no one actually trains them to do that. So it's up to the individual to acquire that skill and then be really clear about who they want to be versus what they want to achieve. And similarly, in that experience that I spoke about with asking for the autograph, several years later, someone did ask me for my autograph, and all of a sudden it dawned on me that now I'm a role model. I asked myself, what kind of role model do I want to be? And then set out to maintain consistency to be that person, and to maintain that sense of humility and time and authenticity for people. So I'm in Australia. I'm one of the most trusted and respected and household name brands in Australia. But I asked myself, what am I known for? And I'm known for being real. Like people, what you see is what you get, whether I'm in the water or out of the water, whether I'm standing on stage or whether I'm standing on the beach. You're going to get the same me each time, and that helps build brand profile, but also that level of authenticity builds sense of connection and relevancy, and that's helped me maintain my status way after my career finished 14 years ago, because like you said earlier, we're always evolving. And so I'm looking for new ways to evolve and learn new skills and upskill myself. And I find myself in all these random positions, as a motivational speaker on the world stage to chairman of Surfing Australia to a director of urban surf. It's just, I'm always learning and evolving and accepting new opportunities, but that's because I'm really clear about who I want to be every day.
Yeah, it's important that people can relate to you, and you're not something like just a world champion to be used as a, like face, but just more than that. And I think,
yes.
In this world, we need more, not unique people, but, people that are through them to
authentic.
Authentic.
Yeah. Authentic people. Yeah, because that's what creates brand currency and then ultimately social currency. So we need people to be more true to who they are and what they believe in, and then share those beliefs with others, because when you do, it gives us an opportunity to connect with you and relate to you. And then if you create those levels of connection and relativity, then we'll support you.
True. And, I was thinking about, during this podcast, now we are 135 episodes.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. And, I had the opportunity to interview world champions, but as well, I had the opportunity to interview like people that won something, but they never had the opportunity to be there at the world champion. And one of the things that they said to me all the time, it was like, I didn't have anybody next to me to tell me the way, in a sense. Today there is like coaching that is like a coaching, let's say a sport coaching, but there is like a coaching on how to address particular situation, like how to party, and then to commit, to, if you want something, you need to commit. Like we go back to your 3 rules, on which are quite important, I think. And, it's easy for like maybe a young guy or a young girl, 14 years old, 15 years old, to be back on tour, and everybody wants your autograph, and everybody puts you on the advertising and whatever. And then at the end of the day, you don't know how to manage that. So you need people, we'll go back to what you were saying, around you to support you and to make sure that you progress, rather than to get lost into this circus. So I think it's
yeah, that's a great point, because it's very easy to get distracted by all of the shiny things. And if you don't have people around you that can help you guide your way through that, then that costs you a lot. And it's just interesting that seems to be the common theme, that they didn't listen to others. Whereas great leaders, the first thing they do is listen. That's why I'm born with 2 ears and 1 tongue. We do a lot more listening than speaking. And I just surrounded myself with experts that would share their experience and their knowledge and their wisdom with me to shortcut the struggle towards what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah. And what do you want to achieve with the Awake Academy? What is your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal is to transform 1 million lives.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How many so far?
Yeah.
Which stage of the progress?
Yeah, we're about 1,000 now. We got plenty more to go.
Is a long road, but is the most important thing, I guess, is should be a meaningful one for you first, isn't it?
Yes. Well, yeah. So my whole why with Awake Academy was awakening others awakens me. It's a mutually beneficial transaction. Transforming other people's lives literally helps me transform my own. And by sharing the lessons that I've learned, I get to then share in the success and the transformation and the change of the people that I'm impacting. And it's a wonderful, it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do, to actually wake up every day thinking of how can I help people be better and how can I help improve people's lives. But to do that, I have to be better myself, and I have to be focusing on ways that I can improve my own life. And that's why surfing is such an important part of my life, because it improves every aspect of my life. It improves my relationship with myself. It clears my mind. It calms my heart rate. It centers my soul. It helps me feel confident and calm and relaxed. And And it's where I feel a true sense of freedom and connection. So no matter what's going on in my life, I still have to enter the ocean every day just to get that sense of peace and well-being. And then I can go and inspire and empower others to do the same.
It's not a matter of how many waves you catch or you surf.
No, not anymore.
Present, right?
No, yeah. It's just about being in the water. Every time I dive in the water and I duck dive that first wave, it's like I feel my whole body sigh a sigh of relief. And then in my mind, I go, anything on top of this is just added bonus. So it's not about catching a million waves. It's maybe even catching 3 and just doing a couple of maneuvers that make me feel good. Like I can still think in my mind, yeah, I've still got it. And then I'm happy. I'll go in.
Yeah. In effect, you're saying something interesting because once I interviewed Nat Young, famous
yes,
champion, right? Yes, Australia.
Yeah.
And he tells me like I'm surfing three waves per day, but that connection, I don't know how good he was saying. I don't know how good I'm surfing them today. But
doesn't matter,
But those 3 waves they mean a lot to me, And
absolutely.
In a certain way, he told me I'm afraid by the time I will not be able to surf, but them anymore. But once a surfer, always a surfer, right? It's like
exactly.
Okay, cool. And so we're going at the end of our interview. Last question, and then short Q&A. A lot of things has changed in women surfing until today, and we saw also recently some more news. But in your opinion, what is next to achieve?
Yes, because all of those things that you're talking about only happen at the highest level of the sport. I'd love to see all of that filter all the way down to the grassroots movement. So girls and boys feel equal, because the one thing about the ocean is it's gender fluid. It doesn't discriminate. Everyone belongs out there. And it's an opportunity for everyone to go out there and have fun and participate. So I would love to see all of that discrimination and that sexism and chauvinism that the surfing world has been so famous for and well documented in documentaries like Girls Can't Surf. I want to see that eliminated. I want to see everyone just being out there having fun and irrespective of whether you're a male, a female, or a transgender, it doesn't matter. I mean, we all belong in the ocean and we all have the right to enjoy it. And so I'd love to see just that sense of equality and inclusion and safety extend to all surfers. So
we have to talk more about it, or our society will improve them itself.
Yes.
Gradually, I guess, because giving exposure will help, I guess, to have a significant improvement. Otherwise, things will stay forever like they are. So that's not good.
Yeah. Yes. It's going to take time, but as long as we keep talking about it, things will change.
So we're going to finish our interview, the short Q&A session. 6 questions I ask everybody on the show. Please answer the first thing that comes up to your mind, okay?
Okay.
Best surfboard that you ever ridden?
It's my favorite surfboard at the moment. And look, I'm sponsored by Mauricio Gill, but he's going to kill me if he watches this. It's an MR Cali twin. It's a collaboration with Mark Richards and Mayhem.
Okay.
It's one of the most fun boards I've ever ridden.
We'll keep the secret.
Yeah.
Favorite shaper of all time?
Oh, man, this is hard. I've worked with a variety of different shapers. I'd say Stuart Darcy was one of my favorite shapers.
Okay.
And then a guy you would have never heard of called Barry Vandermeulen. He's a South African that lives in Southern California.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's nice. I will Google about it. Personal question, your favorite song?
My favorite song, Don't Change by In Excess, of course.
You stay home, right?
Yeah.
Sounds familiar. Favorite surf spot? I think I know. All right.
Oh, what do you think it is?
Home, right? Mainly?
No. My favorite. Okay. No. Look, when I was competing, my favorite surf spot was Sunset Beach in Hawaii. Now one of my favorite surf spots is Angourie in northern New South Wales.
Okay. Wow, that was an unexpected answer because usually it's home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably.
Favorite woman surfer of all time?
Rel Sun.
Rel
Sun.
Okay.
You'll have to Google it.
I missed it.
Actually, well, you know what? One of the first people that came to mind was also Margot Wergberg. But yeah, Rel's son just had this immense grace and beauty. And she died way too young from breast cancer, but she was a Hawaiian woman who just lived and breathed aloha.
Amazing. I
Mhm.
like. Last question, a little bit unusual. I ask everybody your best relationship advice.
Ooh, your best relationship advice. Be honest.
Yeah.
Even when it's going to hurt.
It works, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
sometimes
it does.
we sleep on the couch because of that, but
Yeah. Yes. And let them know how much they mean to you consistently.
it's very important, you know. Like
Yeah.
if things unsaid, then is we're gonna have regrets, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly right.
Thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show
you.
today. And
My pleasure.
have a great afternoon, and looking forward to talk to you very soon.
You too. Have a lovely day.
Ciao. Bye-bye. Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.thetempleofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!